He was doing really well, actually. Like, all the signs were perfect. We had checkups with the doctor at Chapel Hill, and everything was going well. And then we went in for his 7-week checkup, and the doctor that we normally saw was on vacation. So he had a partner that we saw. But the partner wasn't very familiar with Paul's condition. And so he looked at Paul and said, "You're doing great." I mean, he'd been gaining weight, and he said, "You are doing so well, I'm going to take you off your medication." We had baby shower for Paul that weekend. I mean, everything was great, I thought. I mean, he was such a happy baby. So we had the shower, came home that night, and then he got up in the middle of the night to nurse as normal, and Dave picked him up, and he just screamed out in Dave's arms. So we knew something was wrong, so we called 911, and Dave went to the hospital with Paul, and I was home with Katie. Remember where I was? I just got on my knees, and I begged God, like, "Please, please, I will do anything. Do not let him die. Do not let him die." And then our friends came, and I went to the hospital, and the woman said, "I'm really sorry. I'm sorry your son is dead." And I just remember thinking, God, how could you do this? You know, we went through all of this, and Paul died because of a mistake. I remember that feeling of begging God and realizing that it didn't help. I had my first surgery in England when I was 2, and that was a really traumatic time, I think, for my family, because they realized, like, my life was going to be very, very different. And then I had 21 operations between then and when I was 13. I had a lot of trouble when I was young. I mean, lots of kids made fun of me. When I was 7, these kids pushed me over and they called me a cripple, and they made fun of me. Every day when I was a kid, somebody asked me, "What's wrong with you?" Every day, happened every single day. And so you just feel like you're so different from everyone else, and you don't fit in. And so I was pretty angry then.
Work on it for a few visits, and then we can go from there.
Okay. I guess I really didn't think about God that much, but whenever I did, I just felt, I'm mad at you if you do exist, but you probably don't, because you wouldn't be that cruel. I remember just saying, "Okay, God, if you're real, show me." And then I thought, well, you know, maybe I should look at the Bible. And I had a Bible that when I was confirmed, which was years before in our church, and didn't really ever open it. I mean, I think it was still in the plastic. So I unwrapped it and sat on my bed. I'm like, okay, show me that you're real. You know, I flipped open. I remember reading all kinds of stuff thinking, you know, this doesn't make any sense to me. Why did all this happen? Explain this to me. And I flipped open the Bible to John 9. The disciples asked Jesus, who sinned, this man or his parents, that he was born blind? And Jesus says, it is not that this man sinned or his parents, but that the works of God would be displayed in his life. I just felt like God was talking to me. It was unlike any experience I'd had before. It became completely clear to me. God had a purpose in my life. I just felt like God must be completely against me. I really, really thought I couldn't make it. And there were days that I would just like lay on the floor of my room and just cry and say, God, you've got to get me through this.
When he calls to me, I will answer him. I will be with him in trouble. I will rescue him and honor him. With long life, I will satisfy him and show him my salvation. There is trouble, and God knows there's trouble, but God rescues us in the midst of trouble and not necessarily from it. And I found that to be even a deeper promise than you won't have trouble, but I'm going to be with you in it. I felt like God was like, you need to forgive, because this is the love that changes the world. And at first I was like, I don't want to do that. I don't want to forgive. I got polio because the doctor made a mistake. The doctor made a mistake, and that's why Paul died. My ex-husband's affair. You know, there's just a lot of different things I've had to forgive. And I remember people kept saying to me, you don't seem bitter. Why are you not bitter? And it was God. It wasn't like I was making this choice not to be bitter. But at the same time, it was every time something would come up where I would get angry, it was giving it back to God and saying, okay, God, I'm asking you to take this. I think my disability went from being something that made me bitter to something that really drew me to God and made me more dependent on him. Every time, like through all the different types of suffering, what's really pulled me out or pulled me through is God's walking with me. And that to me has been bigger and worth every second of suffering, which sounds crazy even as I sit here and tell you that, but it has anchored my faith in a way that, you know, I think people, when you read the Bible and you understand truth and you say, this makes sense to me, but then people can argue you out of that. I mean, I've seen people with faith just kind of say, well, it doesn't make sense now and I'm not sure, and other people are telling me things. But when you go through the fire and God is right there, like, I know he's real. He's there. He's walked with me. I think adversity, if we turn to God in it, it keeps us from walking away because we need him. We know him in a different way as not just the giver of good gifts, but the one who walks with us. And I don't think you see that many people who get the sense of God's presence, God walking with them, unless they call out to him and they need him.
Having a mom who is pointing me to the Lord even when things are tough, and that's an understatement, I guess really made me the believer that I am today.
The Lord has done this for a purpose. We don't know what it is, but we wait.
I feel like it was God's grace to give me suffering because it has made me deeper and made me love God, and I wouldn't trade that for anything.